Good morning. My name is Kevin Anderson, and I'm running for Hennepin County Commissioner in District 7. And this is Mental Health Mondays. And uh, I wanted to thank you for joining us today. Um, me. Um, so this is, the time when when we start talking about the the importance of mental health, taking care of our mental health, and what that actually means. Um, Now, full disclaimer, I'm not a mental health professional. I don't claim to be a mental health professional. I have been blessed to know many people who are in that field. And I do, we are working on schedules to try to get some of that so that we can have some live discussions. Maybe not live discussions, but discussions with professionals. So if there's anything that you want that you have a particular interest in, let me know. Send me an email. My email is kevin@votekevinanderson.com. Um, Today, I want to talk about trauma and uh, specifically uh, what comes after trauma. So, a friend of mine had made a comment, when this whole pandemic started, uh, that the next generation, the young generation that is going through this, is going to be the most resilient generation uh, in our lifetime that we'll have known. I think that's probably very true. Um, I was reading an article today uh, about um, the resilience that can happen when you in the aftermath of trauma. Uh, it's a fantastic article uh, by gentleman Scott Barry Kaufman, um, and it's um, it goes through what happens and um, during a traumatic event and the aftermath, and what it's like to process that, and some of the impacts um, of not dealing with it, not dealing with trauma. And I think one of the things that I took away from the article, at least, is one: we are incredibly resilient people. Um, we are almost hardwired to confront trauma and what has happened to us and overcome it and kind of rebuild in the aftermath. Um, I know for me, um, coming out of high school, uh, I was in a few car accidents in during high school uh, and the year after, um, and one of those things, one of the accidents that I was in, I was hit head on by a drunk driver, and that was easily the most frightening experience that I've ever had. Um, it was, I had just started college. I was home for the weekend, um, and I was getting ready to head back to classes. And as I was getting ready to leave town, uh, a uh, a driver in a minivan um, came around a curve and went into my lane and hit me head on. At that moment, I was sure I was going to die. I I remember clearly sitting um, in the driver's seat, and in the aftermath, I had been the car had been pushed, and so I wasn't able to breathe. The seatbelt had broke my collarbone and collapsed a lung, um, and there was nobody there. It was me in the car, and the people in the minivan um, were obviously in their vehicle, and I remember thinking to myself, "This is it. I What didn't I say? What did I miss out on?" Um, and started kind of going through all of the things um, that I wish had been different, or I wish I had said, or um, the experiences that I might have or might not have. And it was terrifying. And thankfully, obviously, the story ends okay. But after that, for a long time, um, driving was incredibly scary. Um, Trying to get back behind the wheel and uh, not be have your palms sweaty, um, and try to confront that and actually make it through so I could function again was it took some time. It took a very long time, and but I think in the end, um, it's helped me. And so I want to say in this time, we are going through um, a crazy experience, a crazy shared experience where um, we're going to be looking back on this for years to come saying, what is it, uh, what did you do during the quarantine or when we had a global pandemic? Um, and my answer is going to be, I'm going to try to help people. Um, I'm going to try to be present for people. And if you are experiencing something that you're not sure how to deal with, feel free to reach out to me. I I can't offer anything beyond my own experience, um, but I'll be an ear to listen to. Uh, and if you need professional help, please do seek professional help. Um, I think the article that I had talked about at the beginning of this uh, was discussing the importance of confronting the trauma that you are experiencing so that you can actually grow. It is through that confrontation that we find our stability and are able to make it through it. Now, I know for me, uh, I try to make sure that I am listening to professionals um, when discussing or trying to make up my mind about how to deal with things or how to address policies. Um, and in these polarizing times, it can be kind of hard to figure out who the professionals are and who is the um, the arbiter of truth, if you will. And I can only share what my truth is in terms of uh, how to deal with uh, emotions and stuff like that. That's an area where I say, okay, I may not be the expert. I can share my point of view, um, but I do try to listen to people who really know what they're talking about, and that informs my decisions. And I do worry about people who uh, tend to or are looking for answers that downplay um, the experience that we're going through right now. There are people that are pushing for a return to absolute normalcy, that they want to show that everything is just fine and that we don't need to uh, worry about things that are this virus that's killing people. And um, I think to myself that we are in the middle uh, of a car crash. We know it's happening, and we know that it is dangerous. Maybe not for everybody, um, but in a time like this, I think it's really important to recognize when somebody is telling you to take off your seatbelt um, in the middle of a crash. And there are things we can do to protect ourselves. And I'm thankful that we have a governor that is advocating for smart policies, who's obviously listening to experts who are trying to balance out the economic needs of our state and the public health that he's entrusted with protecting. Um, it's not an easy job, and it does require people at all levels to step up and be responsible for their words and their actions. And so um, I think that we need to make sure that we're not playing politics with this, that we are finding ways of uh, doing the best we can to protect people's lives and livelihoods so that when we come through this, our family members are still alive, our businesses can regrow, um, and that as a society, we are uh, better for it. It may seem impossible to imagine a um, being better off after this at this point. Um, but I think that's our responsibility as people who are looking to run for public office is how do we make sure that we're in a position to rebuild better than we were? Because you know what? Um, Normal, where we put people's lives at risk, isn't an acceptable normal to me. Um, we need to make sure that we are uh, doing everything we can to make sure that workers are protected when they go back to work, that business owners are able to confidently say their place of business is safe for their customers and for themselves. Um, this is the thing that we need to have, and we need to have smart policy making that accounts for those things. And ignoring the problem and saying we can just get back to business without doing anything is dangerous. So um, that's kind of my take on it. So if you have any questions or uh, want to be a part of this, um, I think it's uh, you can join me online. You can visit my website, votekevinanderson.com. Sign up for my emails. There will be opportunities to help out with the campaign. You can also make a contribution to my campaign if you're in a position to be able to do so. All of that is online at votekevinanderson.com. You can also visit my website. You can visit me on social media, Facebook and Twitter. So please be a part of the community. We do this work together because honestly, this isn't about me trying to do something good. I obviously want to do good, but this is about all of us stepping up and being the change that we want to see in our community. And the counties are going to play a very big role in making sure that our communities are rebuilt and resilient for the next disaster that comes our way. So be a part of it with me. And I promise I'll be a part of it with you. Have a great week. I'll see you again on Wednesday. I think we're going to be talking about voting and making sure that we have secure elections come August and November. Thank you very much and have a great week.